Have you ever wondered why divorce rates are so high all over the world? Why do people drift apart even after loving each other so deeply? Why does passion slowly fade away in long-term relationships? If you think the answer is lack of character, this book will prove you wrong. In this book, we understand that we are not separate from apes. 98.4% of our DNA matches with chimpanzees and bonobos. We understand how our basic nature is still the jungle nature, but we live inside social cages. We try to understand those things Darwin either hid or didn't know himself. We see how modern science like sperm competition and female vocalization completely destroys the old image of the shy, modest woman. We learn how farming that began 10,000 years ago stole our freedom from us and crushed us under jealousy, war, and the burden of nuclear families. We read about those tribes in the Amazon and Africa where even today no one cares about paternity, who the father is, and the whole group raises the children together. So come, let's try to understand this book. We didn't come from apes. We ourselves are apes. Scientifically and factually, Homo sapiens is just one more species of the great apes. Like chimpanzees, bonobos, gorillas, and orangutans, only 5 million years ago we had a common ancestor, which in evolutionary terms is basically yesterday or the day before. Today's primatologists say the line drawn between humans and the other great apes is quite artificial. Even if we are above nature, we're only as much above it as a surfer is above the ocean. Falling can happen any moment. Western culture taught us that humans are special, separate from and above nature. Animal nature was called dirty, shameful, or dangerous. Sometimes nature was considered something to hide. Sometimes it was idealized into an angelic fantasy. Both extremes are wrong. The reality is that our inner animal nature is always with us. We come from hypersexual ancestors, just like bonobos and chimps. That's why it's essential to accept this in order to understand human sexuality. The idea of lifetime monogamy is built on a false story. The real story of human sexuality was so uncomfortable that for hundreds of years it has been suppressed. Religion silenced it. Doctors turned it into a disease. Scientists ignored it. Therapists hid it behind moral lectures. Today there is a deep conflict in sexuality. The damage of this ignorance is that half of all marriages are drowning in sexual frustration, boredom, infidelity, confusion, and shame. Serial monogamy feels like an island of failures. Even among couples who stay together, many sacrifice their erotic life just for stability, companionship, and emotional intimacy. The question is, should the price of these things really be the death of desire? Marriage is often seen as the end of sexual life. Men feel like they're chained with a ball and chain. Women suffer too. What woman would want her partner to feel trapped even while loving her? What woman wants to apologize her whole life just for being a woman? The data shows something is very wrong. In America, about 42% of women struggle with sexual dysfunction. Viagra is breaking sales records. The porn industry earns billions worldwide. In America, people spend more money on strip clubs than on Broadway and opera combined. All of this shows that humans have a powerful craving for sex, even when it's officially denied. Politicians and religious leaders publicly support family values. But in private life, they're caught doing the complete opposite. The system of sexual denial has failed. The Catholic Church's sexual abuse cases, crimes against children, and the compensation numbers are proof of this. Centuries ago, banning sex for priests was a huge mistake, whose moral debt is still being paid today. Just like Galileo was forced to say he was wrong by the Inquisition, and later the Church admitted he was right. The same thing is happening in sexuality too. A well-intentioned inquisition is still running. This old story comforts us that we are special, but it keeps us far from the truth. Just like people thought Earth was the center of the universe, The monogamous nuclear family has been made the centre of human sexuality. Today we talk about sexual liberation, but the gap between real feelings and the feelings we're told to have is enormous. From this gap come confusion, dissatisfaction and suffering. People are asking questions. Why does desire fade? Why are divorces increasing? Why are single-parent families rising? Why do men and women feel so different from each other, like they're from different planets? Society has tried to answer this crisis with medicines, therapy industries, sex tips, pills and magazines. Candles, new positions, pills, labels. Everything has been tried. If it doesn't work, they say, there's something wrong with you. This too is just another well-intentioned inquisition. Sexual hypocrisy is not limited to individuals. Big corporations publicly show conservative values and privately make money from porn. This contradiction becomes clear only when we accept that the traditional model of sexuality is wrong. If monogamy were truly natural, there wouldn't be so much mess. We need to understand ourselves in a new way, not based on religion or fantasy, but on scientific data. We are fighting a war against our own erotic nature. Biology and millions of years of evolution are on one side, and culture, politics and religion on the other. In the coming parts of this book, we will try to understand that prehistoric humans lived in small groups where almost everything was shared. Food, shelter, childcare and sex too. This is not saying there was no love or everyone was a hippie. It's saying that the relationship between love and sex is misunderstood today. Casual sexuality was normal, with love and without love. How do we know about prehistoric sex? There is no direct proof, but circumstantial evidence, primate behaviour, anatomical clues in the human body, porn, fantasies and sexual desires, all together tell the story. The standard narrative says boy meets girl, they check needs, make long-term pair bond, then jealousy and infidelity patterns appear. These patterns appear in the modern world, but they are not human nature. They are the result of social conditions after agriculture. Women preferring resource-rich men is also not innate. It's an adaptation to a world where men controlled resources. Before agriculture, both women and men had survival resources. Farming brought huge decline in women's status, hierarchy, private property. Only 5% of human species' time has been spent with agriculture. The remaining 95% we were foragers, where sharing and egalitarianism were common. This was not a sign of nobility. It was a survival strategy. Evidence shows prehistoric humans had multiple sexual partnerships that were casual yet meaningful and strengthened community bonds. This pattern is still visible today in our bodies, fantasies and desires. From this understanding we get answers to: why is fidelity so difficult? Why does passion fade? Why are women multi-orgasmic? Why is jealousy natural? And why is human anatomy the way it is? Millions of years ago, our ancestors moved away from the gorilla-like system where one alpha male controlled all the females. Then a system came where most males got sexual access to females. Experts agree on this. But the standard story goes wrong here, because it says this is where monogamy or polygyny, one man, many women, started. But when we see that simultaneous multiple sexual relationships, promiscuity, was common in prehistory, the standard story ignores it purely for moral reasons. When you look at the evidence, it's visible everywhere that hunter-gatherer societies were small, equal, everything-sharing groups. Kung San of Botswana, Australian Aborigines, Amazon tribes, all had similar lifestyles. In these groups, sharing was not just encouraged, it was mandatory. Hiding food or keeping things alone was considered shameful. Meat was equally divided. They fed other people's children too. There was no privacy. Everyone depended on each other. Private property and individual responsibility were concepts that didn't even exist. Group welfare and mutual dependence were the foundation. This is not drama or hippie fantasy. It was real. Scholars agree that Forager's system was egalitarian and compulsory sharing was the best way to spread risk across everyone. We believe this sharing extended to sex as well. Research in primatology, anthropology, anatomy, psychology all point in the same direction. Our ancestors lived in small bands where adults had multiple sexual partners. This pattern continued until agriculture arrived. Along with scientific evidence, many travellers, missionaries and anthropologists have also written that in pre-agricultural societies there was open sexuality, orgy-like rituals, wife-sharing, sex without guilt or shame. If you look at chimps and bonobos, female chimps have sex with multiple males every day. Bonobos have group sex that keeps everyone related and strengthens social networks. Even today, human porn preferences that struggle with monogamy are memories of those ancestral patterns. Our bodies themselves tell the same story. Human male testicles are too large for a monogamous species. The penis is longer and thicker than other primates. Orgasm comes quickly. Women's breasts are larger than needed just for breastfeeding. Their loud sex sounds and multi-orgasmic capacity. Everything indicates that prehistoric promiscuity was reality. All these points challenge the standard story. After agriculture, people started settling in one place. Private property became important. Now it became necessary to know whose land ends where, whose wife is whose resources are whose. Look at the 10th commandment too. It tells you not to covet your neighbour's wife, house, anything. Before agriculture, women had respected central roles. After farming, women also became a kind of property. Like house, slaves, animals. Agriculture was the biggest turning point. It changed status, power, society, family, gods, wars, quality of life. Everything. Rules of sex changed too. Archaeologist Timothy Taylor says hunter-gatherers' sex was based on sharing. Agriculture made it repressive, homophobic, and limited only to reproduction. Farmers, out of fear of wild nature, tried to destroy it. Now land could be owned, sold, passed to future generations. Growing food, storing it, protecting it, keeping an army. Everything became necessary. Paternity, who the father is, also became critically important. But the standard narrative says paternity was always important. Yet anthropology finds societies where biological paternity had literally no value. And in those places, men didn't get caught up in female fidelity. Take food as an example. What seems disgusting to us is only because of our culture. Nothing else. In Australia, people eat insects. The British thought they were hungry. Actually, they were healthy and satisfied. Bacon as breakfast was a marketing idea. Bugs have more minerals and nutrition, but we get disgusted just by thinking about it. Shrimp, crab, lobster. They're basically the same as grasshoppers. Every culture naturally considers its own things right or wrong. But in reality, it's all cultural programming. Even the FDA allows certain insect parts in spices. Americans unknowingly eat 1 or 2 pounds of insects every year, meaning what feels natural is a product of culture, not biological truth. Our beliefs about what is normal or natural are all shaped according to culture. Mythologist Joseph Campbell said it's necessary to step out of your tribe's thinking. Otherwise, we keep believing wrong assumptions are right. Authorities say jealousy and commitment are natural. Experts say women want commitment for intimacy. But all of this is just feelings plus cultural programming, not 100% biology. Humans do bring some instincts, but what we feel also comes from culture. Books on human nature mostly highlight the dark side. Murder, jealousy, violence. But is this really an accurate reflection of the past? Or just a projection of today's thinking? Later we will talk about how our model is more realistic and show that dysfunction in many marriages is nobody's fault. Many evolutionary psychologists are building models on wrong assumptions. They have a habit of fitting results into preconceived ideas instead of actually solving the puzzle. One leaf can hide many things, but human erection cannot. The standard narrative of human sexuality says men and women are genetically fighting against each other in sex matters. Men want to spread sperm as much as possible, but they also want to control some females so they get paternity certainty of offspring. Women save their limited eggs only for worthy partners, but once they get a provider husband, sometimes secretly they have sex with genetically superior males. This is all part of Darwin's narrative, and is still taught in science today with conflict, cheating, and dirty genes. People say in prehistoric times if a woman became a single mother she couldn't survive. That's why women were always choosy and men were busy spreading genes. This story also makes jealousy, double standards, and commitment natural. But we have to keep in mind that the neat package we're being sold might be wrong. At Darwin's time, almost nothing was known about prehistory. Everything was blank. Religious ideas dominated science. Knowledge about primates was almost zero. That's why Darwin's theories have many blind spots. Darwin accepted Hobbes's wrong idea that ancient human life was solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short. Because of this wrong image, people still imagine cavemen dragging women by hair with clubs. But reality was something else. Darwin also accepted Malthus's population and poverty ideas. Malthus thought people suffered greatly in the past. These misunderstandings are still embedded in theories today. Darwin thought primitive man lived in a group where one man kept as many wives as he could support and protected them from other men. Even today, some evolutionary psychologists just look at modern society and draw conclusions about ancient times. Like Steven Pinker saying sex is dirty everywhere, taboo, jealousy everywhere. But later we'll see that every rule has exceptions. In Victorian Britain, women were seen as angels. Yet prostitution was openly available. Men fulfilled their lust with prostitutes so respectable women could stay safe. 80,000 prostitutes in London just to save monogamy. Darwin was also affected by the erotophobia of his time. His daughter Etty used to remove sexual content from his books. She even searched for and burned penis-shaped mushrooms in the woods. For Darwin, marriage was an abstract concept. He wrote about pros and cons, freedom versus companionship. But in his own life, sexual experience was limited. Only with his wife Emma, who was also his cousin. Darwin travelled the world, but never had the adventures other sailors did. A big problem is that scientists often project their present experience onto prehistory. This is called Flintstoneization, pasting the present onto the past. The intellectual grandfathers of this process were Hobbes, everything was bad; Rousseau, everything was pure; Malthus, poverty is natural. All of them entered Darwin, and are still in theories today. In the foundation stone of science there hides a myth. This myth says human sexuality follows a certain narrative. Monogamy is natural, male jealousy is natural, women's ovulation is hidden, women are deceptive, men get aroused by anything. But this is a wrong story that is still running everywhere. Like the Adam-Eve story. Darwin gave two mechanisms of evolution: natural selection and survival of the fittest. But people mistakenly think evolution is improvement. Actually, it's only adaptation according to environment. Whatever organism survives, its genes go to the next generation. But if environment changes, the advantage can become zero. Darwin's grandfather Erasmus also talked about evolution. But Darwin explained the mechanism. How it happens, how traits appear according to environment survival. So the standard story of human sexuality is wrong and dangerous because it forces everyone into one ill-fitting dress. We must learn to separate myth from facts. Otherwise, we'll keep living with wrong thinking. Evolutionary theory was first used to understand bodies. Like, where are the ears? Where are the eyes? Why don't birds' ears show? Etc. From Darwin's time, these things were being explained. Then in 1975, E.O. Wilson wrote the book Sociobiology and said that evolutionary theory can explain not just bodies but behaviour too, meaning love, jealousy, war, rape, altruism. Everything can be explained through the evolution. Later, this approach became known as evolutionary psychology. Wilson said if we want to understand the mind and human nature, evolutionary theory is the most important thing. Without it, we can only understand the surface. As sociobiology and on human nature came out, scientists started moving beyond birds' feathers and started researching human emotions and behaviour. Evolutionary psychology was born, but it was extremely controversial, because people felt it would prove that thoughts and feelings are also fixed by genes, just like the shape of the body, and can't be changed. Research started focusing a lot on differences between men and women, like they have different reproductive agendas. Critics smelled sexism and racism in it and said it could be used to justify old things like slavery and discrimination. Wilson never said everything is decided by genes. He only said evolved tendencies influence behaviour, but the debates made this point blurry. Some social scientists believed humans are blank slates, just shaped by culture. The other side said everything is genetic, and the truth lies somewhere in between. Even today, many evolutionary psychologists say human nature is to make war on others, cheat on spouses, abuse stepchildren, and that rape is a reproductive strategy. Marriage is a struggle. Romantic love is just a chemical that helps make babies. Parental love exists so children can be raised. This whole narrative turns everything into self-interest. But not all scientists think this way. Some disagree or differ on certain points. One big contradiction is that evolutionary psychology keeps saying women are choosy and reserved. Men show money, cars, power to impress them. Women just want security in relationships, not pleasure. Darwin also believed this. It was thought that if women were as sexual as men, society would collapse. So luckily women have weaker sexual feelings. But reality is that in every society men have taken extreme steps to control female libido. Female genital mutilation, burning, chastity belts, corsets, slut-shaming, calling it hysteria, punishment for expressing sexuality. The question is, if female sexuality is supposedly so weak, why so much strict policing? There's an interesting story from Greek mythology. Tiresias, a man who once became a woman, was asked by Zeus and Hera who enjoys sex more, men or women. He said women enjoy it 9 times more. Hera got angry and blinded him. In the same way, old doctors like Peter of Spain said women get more quantities of pleasure, while men get more quality. This history is important because if women actually enjoy sex as much or more, the whole narrative changes. Maybe Darwin was wrong and stuck in Victorian thinking. Maybe both genders have been given wrong information about their own sexuality. And this war of the sexes is just a distraction. Even today we're repeatedly taught that marriage, female shyness, and lifelong commitment are natural. Because of this narrative, couples get unrealistic expectations, frustration, disappointment. Society puts huge pressure on romantic lifelong love, but the evidence for it is weak. Yet it's promoted everywhere. Research in America shows the highest partner change and family flux happens here. Still, no one faces the truth. Whenever a politician gets caught cheating in the media, people feel awkward and don't discuss what the real problem is. Should we live a passionless life, or break the relationship? People don't answer. Darwin's coy female idea was based on sexual selection. Females invest more in offspring, so they're slow in choosing. males are ready to mate first. So evolutionary psychology says male-female mating approach is always conflictual. Men compete. Women choose. Winner gets the female. According to Darwin, promiscuous sex was rare in primitive society. But Lewis Henry Morgan, a scholar, disagreed. Morgan was a railroad lawyer and anthropologist who became part of the Seneca tribe. Morgan studied how family structure evolves and said in prehistoric societies group marriage, polygyny or polyandry, multiple husbands and multiple wives, was normal. Darwin also admitted that almost promiscuous intercourse was once extremely common throughout the world. Today, even more evidence has come that in prehistoric times non-exclusive sexual relationships were common. Here, promiscuous doesn't mean random strangers. It means ongoing multiple sexual relationships. Forager groups were very small, 100, 150 people. Everyone knew each other personally, so this was completely normal for them. No rebellion. That's why when we talk about sexual practices, this was totally normal in those societies. We shouldn't judge them by our culture. Even private sexuality experts say the same thing happens in chimps and bonobos. It's not indiscriminate, but social kinship preferences play a role. Meaning if promiscuity means ongoing non-exclusive sexual relationships, then our ancestors were more promiscuous than today's people, but not with random strangers. There's good news and bad news. The good news is that the standard story of human sexuality is wrong. Men are not naturally cheating machines. Women are not naturally gold diggers or deceptive. The bad news is that evolution has made us extremely sexual creatures. We can't fully control it even if we want to. Our body's basic setting is sexual. No matter how much willpower, guilt or shame we apply, the urge remains. If we ignore or suppress our natural sexual nature, the damage happens to every individual, couple, family and the whole society. This damage shows up in happiness, mental health and relationships. The more people have tried to control marriage, monogamy and sexuality, desire still doesn't hide. That's why it's important to understand that humans are the most sexual creatures. It's also true that men's and women's sexual experiences can be different, but pleasure comes to both. Most women's sexual arousal takes a little time, but once the mood is set, women can leave men behind. Men pay more attention to looks, women to character. But everyone's biology is different. Women need context, reason, story for sex. Men can get ready even on a more abstract level. Some observations of evolutionary psychology are right, but their explanations are wrong or confusing. Actually, there are also simple, logical explanations about human sexuality, from which a new narrative emerges that feels easier, more logical and more natural. The standard narrative shows our species in a dark, negative image. But in reality, the truth is something else. Now let's look at the four main pillars of the standard narrative. Female libido is weak. Male parental investment, MPI, is very important. Sexual jealousy and paternity certainty are highly focused on. Extended sexual receptivity and concealed ovulation. First, female libido is weak. The standard story says women are not interested in sex. They only do it to please men or to get resources. Charles Darwin also wrote that females are not very eager. Many psychologists and doctors' studies are quoted saying the same. The famous Florida State University study is often cited, where a woman asked guys if they would have sex with her tonight. 75% of men said yes, but no woman said yes when asked by a man. This is taken as proof that women don't want casual sex, which fits the theory that women use sex like a resource. Second, male parental investment, MPI. This theory says humans' main goal is to send genes into the future. So everything is like an economic game. In this model, men give money, food, protection to their children, but only if they're sure they're their own. That's why men always have paternity tension. The theory says marriage and nuclear family are normal in every society. And fathers only care for their own children because it increases their genetic legacy. But this has many assumptions. Like every man knows sex makes babies and he's 100% sure the child is his. While in real forager societies, everyone was interdependent and sharing was the culture. Third, sexual jealousy and paternity certainty. The theory says men are more jealous of sexual infidelity. Because risk is raising someone else's child, women are more jealous of emotional infidelity. Because fear is that partner will stop providing help. Studies also show such results. Like David Buss's research, the theory says men control their wives but themselves look for casual sex. Women want commitment but sometimes want sex with genetically superior men, especially when fertile. This is called mixed strategy. Both genders are playing hidden games. Fourth, extended sexual receptivity and concealed ovulation. In humans, you can't tell when a female is fertile, unlike other primates whose genitals change during the cycle. It's said women always show sexual receptivity so one partner's attention stays. This is Helen Fisher's mate guarding theory, or Sarah Hurdy's theory. Multiple partners confuse who the father is so all help raise the child and none kill it. Both explanations try to fit the standard model, but also show contradictions. Because on one side, males always look for sex. On the other, they stick to one female. So the standard narrative paints a very negative black picture, where everyone follows selfish strategies, everyone cheats on each other, real love and trust are impossible. This story says actually we're all liars, cheaters and manipulators. And whatever love or fidelity we see is just a cover-up for our genetic agenda. This is the standard story that's taught everywhere, and it's essential to challenge it. Humans share almost the same DNA as chimpanzees and bonobos, only 1.6% difference, meaning we're closer to chimps and bonobos than to other monkeys, gorillas and orangutans. Chimps and bonobos are our cousins. Our family line separated from them only 5-6 million years ago. Monogamy is found only in a few species like gibbons. All others, chimps, bonobos, gorillas, orangutans, have either group mating or polygyny. But still many scientists show humans as monogamous, when actually we're not. Look at chimp behaviour. They look power-hungry, violent, aggressive, fight, rape. Infanticide also happens. That's why the killer ape theory was born. People started thinking humans are naturally violent too. But not all chimp groups are the same. Chimps in Gombe are selfish and nepotistic. But in Thai forest, chimps share meat with everyone, not seeing friends or enemies. So not all chimps are aggressive. Also, captive chimps' behaviour cannot be generalised. Human foragers are actually very egalitarian. Sharing culture exists. While chimps have more hierarchy, whenever surplus comes into society, hierarchy, violence and power games increase. Like in chimps, but in prehistory there was no such thing. So to understand natural human nature, just looking at chimps is wrong. Now look at the bonobo model. Bonobos are even more sexual than chimps. Their sex is separate from reproduction. For social bonding, reducing stress, making friends, removing tension, bonobo society is female-centered. Fights are fewer. Hierarchy is flexible. Male status comes from their mother. Females make strong bonds with each other. Bonobo and human females both can have sex throughout the cycle, even during lactation and pregnancy. Bonobo babies socialise much later than chimp babies, like human children. In bonobos, group sex, homosexuality, food sharing and high contact during sex are common, things not found in chimps. chimps do sex mainly for reproduction. But bonobos and humans do it for social bonding, fun, entertainment, stress relief too. But scientists still don't take bonobos seriously as a model for human ancestors, because they think bonobos' sexual freedom, stress-free life, and matriarchal system are unnatural. Actually, if we had known bonobos first and chimps later, maybe our old story would be about sexuality, cooperation, empathy, not violence, war, and male dominance. As Frans de Waal said, our species' success comes from cooperation, sharing, and flexible bonding. Not aggressive nature like chimps. Bonobos and humans share some special gene similarities, like the oxytocin gene that increases trust, love, and social feelings. Chimps don't have it. That's why when we understand our sexual history, looking only at chimps is wrong. The bonobo model is much closer. In human societies too, lifelong monogamy and nuclear family are not found everywhere. Mixed flexible bonding and sharing are more common. Many scientists believe marriage or nuclear family is natural. But evidence suggests early humans also followed open multi-partner systems like bonobos. Hierarchy, violence, and strict control came after agriculture. So the standard story of human monogamy, jealousy, sexual repression is actually a modern invention, not natural. Our nature has bonobo-like sexual freedom, sharing, empathy, and cooperation. And this old theory that focuses only on violence, jealousy, and monogamy is incomplete. Humans lived in the jungle, forests, savannas, or open lands with complete freedom. Everything came naturally: food, love, friendship, without shame or expense. But when agriculture arrived, humans had to try to turn life into a garden. Everything started happening according to control, hard work, and rules. What used to come freely, happiness, sex, comfort, got tied to guilt, shame, and punishment. Even in the Adam and Eve story, the real punishment is that they had to leave the comfortable hunter-gatherer life and start the difficult farming life. Foragers never showed interest in learning farming, because they felt wildlife was the best. Everyone thinks they're an expert on human nature. But in reality, our culture, society, and agriculture have suppressed the wild natural feelings inside us. Things that were good for us were removed by society, labeling them bad. But they keep coming back again and again. Agriculture didn't just domesticate plants, it domesticated humans too. What's right for culture isn't always right for every individual. Sometimes the majority suffers, but society benefits. After farming, humans became sicker, weaker, more violent, and had shorter lifespans. All this is found in the evidence. Humanity's biggest feature is social connection. Solitary confinement or expelling someone from society is the biggest punishment. Our strength is in the group, not in individual power or body. The human brain grew bigger for the same reason. Talking, making friends, surviving in groups. Our sexuality is also hyper. Humans and bonobos are the only ones who have sex hundreds or thousands of times. Not just for making babies, but for bonding, pleasure, and social stability. Other animals have sex once or twice a year. Humans and bonobos do it hundreds or thousands of times. When it comes to social life, prehistoric humans were never alone. Everything belonged to the group. There were no concepts like personal space or private property. In today's world, living alone or loneliness is actually unnatural. Now let's talk about some tribes in South America. There they have the concept of partible paternity, meaning a child can belong to more than one man. The woman thinks semen grows the child, so the more good quality men she has sex with, the stronger the child becomes. When a child has multiple fathers, his care and survival increase. Here, instead of jealousy, people thank other men for helping, because if the biological father dies, the others will take care of the child. This system is not only in the jungle, it is found in modern societies too. In Britain, football teammates share lovers. No jealousy. This builds group unity. Anthropologists say socio-erotic exchanges, sex, meaning sexual relations among group members, create friendship, obligation and trust. Without such networks, humans cannot survive. In many cultures, stinginess with genitals is an insult, meaning not giving sex is breaking society's rules. In the Trobriand Islands, ancient Greece, Rome, South Pacific, Brazil, everywhere, sexual festivals, group sex, and open sexuality were common. Women's sexual desire has also been suppressed more by cultural pressure than biology. When culture allows it, they are just as eager. Primate studies also show female novelty and variety preference. In bonobo society too, males don't know whose child is whose. All males help care. The same thing appears in humans, so no group-living non-human primate is naturally monogamous. Nor are humans. Adultery is found everywhere, no matter how big the punishment. If monogamy were natural, so much control and policing wouldn't be needed. Still, people take risks and commit adultery. This proves human nature is not monogamous. Nature never needs threats to enforce itself. In today's world, everyone is obsessed with sex because it's the only adventure left that's outside control. Industrial society put humans in cages, so sexuality is the one field where a little freedom is left. The standard narrative says in ancient times a woman needed one man for meat and protection for herself and her child. In exchange, she had to give up her sexual freedom so the man could be sure the child was his, meaning a kind of deal, provider and protector in return for paternity guarantee. But think, if there was a sharing system where meat, protection and status were all shared, the burden wouldn't fall on one man and the child would still be safe, because more men would be interested, like vampire bats share food with each other. In the same way, humans earlier survived by sharing resources and love. In forager societies, sharing was compulsory so everyone could survive. This sharing reduced jealousy, male infertility problems, and fights. The group became strong, and every child got security. Bonobo females are similar to humans. Because of more sexual availability, male bonobos fight less. The group grows bigger and cooperation increases. When everyone gets a sexual chance, no one benefits from fighting. Peace remains in the group. Humans had the same adaptation. Women mostly available, male conflict reduced, group formed, everyone secure. Extramarital relationships also increased friendship and group unity in society, like seen in the Mahinaku tribe of Brazil. In the Canela tribe, stinginess was considered bad. Sharing was considered good, whether of goods or one's body. When everyone shares partners, resources and love, the group's network becomes strong. Non-reproductive sex like homosexuality is also just a simple way of bonding. It's social glue. No special explanation needed. People who say in ancient times men only cared for their own children are wrong. Paternity certainty wasn't even important then, because the group shared everything. Now let's talk about mothers. In many tribes, children have not just one mother. Several women breastfeed them and all are called mother. Children can enter any house. Everyone raises the child together. So the child never feels isolated. Considers everyone their own. In the modern world, adoption, surrogacy, stepfamilies, sperm donation, all this is showing that the family system is changing and becoming flexible again like it used to be. In many societies, father-mother or child relationships are defined by names, not just blood. Responsibility and care come from everyone, not just one mum and dad. This fluid parenting system is found everywhere. Africa, Amazon, Polynesia. People raise unrated children as their own. Perhaps this is the real natural family, where everyone raises together. Nuclear family is not any ancient or original system. If husband-wife-child nuclear family is so natural, then why does it need so much law, reward and protection? Even today, nuclear families are decreasing. Unmarried couples are increasing. Step families are rising. Still, many experts insist that every society has one mum-dad. But evidence doesn't show that. History has foundling hospitals, infanticide and unwanted children deaths, all results of this rigidity, meaning the idea that nuclear family is natural is actually a cultural myth. Real human nature is a little more open, shared and communal, where sex and love are not limited to one couple, but shared in the group and benefit everyone. Love and lust are two different things, but people, and even experts, often mix them up. Love and sex, meeting and marriage. These words confuse everything. So in societies, psychology, culture, lust often gets mistaken for love. Or if there's no lust, people think there's no love. Sometimes even experts make this mistake. Like in evolutionary psychology, where mating strategy or mate selection treats meeting, marriage and love as the same thing. Well, everything has its own meaning. All marriage, monogamy or pair bonding talk has confusion in definitions. Every society has its own version of marriage. Somewhere sleeping in one hut is marriage. Somewhere just shifting the hammock is divorce. Somewhere marriage is just a festival or temporary contract. In many places, virginity isn't important in marriage, or premarital sex happens anyway. Some cultures don't require sexual exclusivity or permanence in marriage. In Mozambique, studies found one man with 4 active sexual relationships besides his wife. Waro people do open sex in festivals and see it as positive. Siriano people marry brother-sister, no ceremony. Just put hammock on the side, done. Inuit people sometimes share wives with guests, because in that environment everyone's support is needed. New people. Marriage doesn't require sex. Divorce not allowed. And sometimes the bride never sees the groom again. In all this confusion, we stick the word marriage everywhere, even when meanings are totally different. Meeting, mate, marriage. Everything's meaning depends on the situation. So when psychologists talk about mating strategy or mate selection, it's unclear if they're talking about lifelong partners or just one-time attraction. Confirmation bias also happens. Scientists see only what fits their model, and take their own society's things as universal. Very often translating words makes it seem like marriage is the same everywhere. But actually meanings are very different. Everywhere people form pairs. But every pairing isn't marriage. Nor does everyone have love or sexual exclusivity. When anthropologists see marriage everywhere, they're actually just seeing through their own lens. They don't understand the real context of the society. The confusion in definitions of meeting and marriage and love is the root of the confusion. So, when evolutionary psychology and culture discuss these topics, it's important to remember that everything's meaning, context and reality can be different. Every society has its own thinking, own rules, and every relationship is unique. In many cultures around the world, customs exist where paternity guarantee, whose child it is, isn't important. Like in Melanesia's Marindanim people. On wedding night, the bride has sex with many men from the husband's clan. So she gets semen and becomes fertile. In ancient Rome too, marriage started with group sex. So there was unchastity before chastity. Amazon's Kulina people. Women send men hunting in the morning. At night, the successful hunter gets sex. Here partner selection is open, and everyone shares meat. So sex and sharing are interconnected. Many societies have marriage and sex concepts very different from modern one-man, one-woman idea. China's Mosuo people. No marriage concept at all. Every girl gets her own room. Any lover can come at night, but must leave by morning. No expectations of commitment, jealousy, or fidelity. Children grow up in mother's house. Uncles, mother's brothers take responsibility. In Mosuo society there are no broken homes. Everyone raises children together. Relationships based on freedom and mutual respect. Love, lust, relationships are totally personal. No family, social pressure, or patriarchy role. Many anthropologists say every society is patriarchal, but Mosuo or Minangkabau cultures in Indonesia prove it wrong. In Minangkabau, property is in women's names. Husband lives in wife's house. Decisions by consensus. Not just men or women ruling. Women's power is social and economic. Gender relationships focus on balance, not domination. In matriarchal societies, men are also relaxed and happy, because women's status is high and mutual respect exists. Still, scientists worldwide call monogamy natural. They give examples like penguins, swans, or prairie voles. But truth is penguins pair only for one season, then separate. DNA testing shows bird monogamy is fake. Many chicks aren't from the partner. Prairie voles seem pair-bonded, but have sex with anyone. Swans are monogamous only about 90% of the time. In human societies, marriage, mating, love, all are social constructs. Meaning differs in every culture. Rules and relationships differ everywhere. Group sex, mate swapping, casual affairs, found even in societies where anthropologists claim monogamy, just because some marriage type system exists. So until we see every society in its own context, understanding real meaning of marriage, paternity, or monogamy is difficult. In many cultures, jealousy isn't considered normal. Ways are found to reduce it for group peace. Like in Canela marriage, boy and girl are told not to get jealous of each other's lovers. In different societies, socio-erotic exchanges rule. Regular partners' sex is forbidden. Other partners allowed. Reason: no possessiveness, jealousy, or fights inside group. Everyone's trust stays. Everyone survives together. Every society can shape people's nature in its own way, whether physical appearance or sexual behaviour. Like some cultures shape children's heads or make necks long. Sexual organs have ritual surgery. All considered normal because society teaches it that way. In the same way, sexual jealousy can be reduced or increased by social training. Scientists said men feel jealousy because of paternity worry. Child might not be theirs. Women feel jealousy because of resources worry. Partner might stop helping. But most research is on college students, not representative. University students' thinking, culture, experiences are very different from whole humanity. So this research doesn't show universal truth. When we look at real forager societies, jealousy meaning is different there. Some places jealousy doesn't even exist, or only when someone gives more time to other lover. Jealousy is also a reflection of society. Society can shape it however it wants. Some societies make ritual sex and partner sharing necessary for group bonding. Jealousy seen as childish, useless, or shameful. Syriano people have no concept of romantic or possessive love. Sex is just a need. Canela people openly do wife swapping. Encourage it instead of jealousy. Where jealousy is increased, society shaped it that way. Western culture shows obsessiveness as true love in songs and media, but actually it's unhealthy obsession or control, like in Every Breath You Take song. Whether jealousy is natural or not depends on society, culture, situation. Like with children, mother loves all kids. It's not zero-sum, but we made sexual love a limited resource. If society has no economic insecurity and sexual freedom and dignity, jealousy can end. like in Masuo or bonobo-like societies. E.O. Wilson said real role of human sexuality is bonding, not just reproduction. So Standard Story's idea that woman exchanges sexual freedom for child's protection is wrong. When we see cultures where women don't need this deal, yet everyone is safe and happy, it proves it. So jealousy, possessiveness, sexual control are made by societies, not nature's rule. Human sexual behaviour is not just nature's result. Social context is very important too. People often remember ancient times in Hobbes's words: solitary, poor, nasty, brutish and short. But actually ancient people were very social and lived together. Loneliness wasn't part of their life. Now let's look at Hobbes's other claims like poverty, economics thinking. Especially Malthus's theory says there will always be more people and less food. So hunger and poverty always. Everyone fights for survival. Darwin got natural selection idea from Malthus too. Malthus said every generation doubles, but food doesn't increase that fast. But now science proved this wrong. Before agriculture, human population doubled in hundreds of thousands of years, not 25 years. Ancient people didn't grow that fast like Malthus thought. Hobbes, Malthus, Darwin all saw poverty, hunger, fights around them, and assumed ancient past was the same. But actually prehistoric world was quite empty. People moved easily here and there. When resources got low somewhere, population growth was very slow. People were mostly nomadic. Nature had plenty of food and options, so struggle or starvation wasn't permanent. Foragers shared things. No sense of competition or poverty. Poverty is a social idea that came with civilization, not before. Rossetto cases show when community has equality and sharing. Health is good too. When inequality and competition come, health problems rise. All ancient societies we saw, people had few physical possessions, but they didn't consider themselves poor. Wealth meant satisfaction, being happy with what nature gives, not just collecting material things. Most important, poverty is civilization's invention. Before, people shared things. Everyone's basic needs got fulfilled. When we remove cultural thinking and look, what seems poverty to us was wealth for them, because they were satisfied and free. So ancient people's life wasn't like Hobbes or Malthus imagined. Actually, prehistoric human life was rich. Rich in social connections, nature's gifts, satisfaction. Richard Dawkins gave the concept of memes. Ideas spread in societies like genes. In prehistoric times, sharing and cooperation memes were common. After agriculture, selfishness memes spread more. But Adam Smith also said humans have sympathy and kindness, and as natural as self-interest. Economics has a big wrong thinking. Scarcity-based. Running on shortage. But economist John Gaddy says rational economic behaviour is just market capitalism thinking, not nature's law. Economics myth is Homo economicus, man who works only for his benefit. This thinking's root is in context. We all are greedy, but actually humans have generosity along with greed. Natural. Community. Staying connected. Always important among humans. Game theory's Prisoner's Dilemma example shows people first choose to cheat, but over time when people cooperate, they get reward. MRI studies also show when people cooperate, brain gets reward signals, meaning cooperation is natural reward for us too. Garrett Hardin's Tragedy of the Commons theory is famous. When resources are open to all, people become selfish and destroy everything. But actually in small communities people make rules and avoid cheating. Nobel winner Elinor Ostrom proved small communities can manage resources together. Tragedy happens when community gets too big. People become anonymous. No one cares who does what. Anthropologist Robin Dunbar said in a group about 150 people, everyone can personally know each other. Beyond that, social bonding and accountability reduce. As soon as groups get big, people work for their own benefit. That's why communism wrong on large scale. Community ownership won't work. But in small communities, sharing and accountability are natural. People think we were born in the best time. But this thinking is psychology to show our time better than others. Evolution is not improvement, just adaptation to environment. Showing prehistoric times lower or always sad is wrong thinking. Prehistoric foragers didn't store food, but that doesn't mean they starved. Ancient bones and teeth analysis shows starvation was rare. Malnutrition and death increased only after agriculture. Foragers' diet was varied and healthy. They worked less. Rest of time, rest and socializing. Literally, their society had egalitarianism. No leader or king ruling naturally. Leaders were only those people followed willingly, not by power, instead of selfishness. Hunter-gatherer societies had sharing, cooperation, and justice as natural instincts. But Tridley says selfish genes made human mind, but also social, trustworthy, cooperative. Dawkins also admits animals have altruism, cooperation, kindness, just for genes' benefit. Non-human primate experiments show when peaceful and aggressive monkeys mixed. Peaceful culture won. Robert Sapolsky researched baboons. When all aggressive males died, rest of troop became relaxed, cooperative, less anxious. And this culture transferred to new males too. Christopher Baird says foragers are obsessed with freedom. Those trying to become leader fail. In prehistory too, controllers didn't last. Question is, what if our history had plenty of food, leisure, peace always? And competition scarcity came only after agriculture? Skeletal evidence shows chronic food shortages only after agriculture. Hunter-gatherers spent more time eating, resting, socializing. What we call affluent life today. So real human history is full of sharing, cooperation, and satisfaction. Selfishness and scarcity thinking common in today's economics is minority view. Mostly everyone lived together. No one left hungry. Prehistoric people were happy and satisfied in life. That's why they didn't want to return to civilized life. Many people think war is in human nature. Ancient people always fought. Some scholars like Steven Pinker, Jane Goodall, Napoleon Chagnon say prehistoric societies had constant war. Everyone very violent. But the date is wrong or misleading. Pinker showed societies in presentation that aren't real hunter-gatherers. They were farmers or affected by outside, so not valid examples where actual forager societies are. War not much. Chimp's example also given humans naturally violent. But bonobos exist too. Peaceful, but ignored. Scientific research shows most primates don't spend even 1% of day fighting. Most time cooperation, grooming, food finding. Jane Goodall first found chimps peaceful. But when humans started giving raw food daily, more imbalance showed, meaning when resources limited and concentrated, fights increase. This applies to humans too. Prehistoric hunter-gatherers had no possessions, property or high population. Nothing worth fighting for. When agriculture came, land, crops, resources stored, population grew, fights increased. Research shows war's biggest cause is population density and stored resources, not ancient bloody nature. Scholars giving war examples often talk big empires or hierarchical societies, like Aztecs, Zulu. Not real hunter-gatherers. Archaeology shows in thousands of 10,000-year-old skeletons, only few have violence marks. If war natural, evidence everywhere. but not. Yanomami tribe example also given, but research found some anthropologists like Chagnon increased fights with presents and gifts, made situation violent. Other researchers didn't find such war. Bonobos also defamed in media as warring. Actually, they just hunted other animals sometimes. Common animal behaviour, not war. War and hunting different. Media makes sensational headlines. Fact is, bonobos have no rape, no infanticide, no war scene. Putting all together. Real question, are humans naturally warlike or peaceful? Answer depends on situation. When environment gives everything, population low, resources scattered. Humans peaceful. When resources limited, population high, power imbalance. Fights increase. Evidence suggests our ancestors loved more. Not war. People think ancient people lived very short, 30, 40 years. Very sick, died early. So we are luckier today. But this isn't true. It's confusion in numbers. Like average height. If mix adults and infants, wrong average. Same with life expectancy at birth. Many children died young. But those who survived childhood easily lived 60 or 90 years like today. Active and healthy. Ancient times, high child death. Diseases, infanticide, intentional not saving children, other reasons. But saying humans lived only 30 years. Wrong. Good anthropologists saw. If foragers cross 40, 45, they live another 20, 30 years easily. Active in old age too. Like Kung Hadza, many 60, 70 plus, some 90 plus. After agriculture, health fell. Same food, big population, less hygiene. Diseases spread. Many dangerous diseases like measles, TB, smallpox, influenza came from domestic animals. Spread when people crowded in one place. Ancient foragers had variety. Animals, fish, veggies, fruits. So strong. Today remote tribes have no cancer, heart disease, diabetes. Life expectancy rise reason not modern medicine, but infant mortality drop. Before many children died. Now survive. So average up. But who survived childhood? Lived long before too. Now we're poverty. Children die young. But survivors become old easily. Another point, stress. Today chronic stress, tension, anxiety. Work pressure, bad lifestyle, fast food. All ruin health. Japan has word for death from work stress. Kroshi. Forager life had less stress. Chill. Food got, sit relax. No fights, less disease, natural exercise, good sleep. Science shows less food, intermittent fasting, good sleep, longer life. People saying we live in most peaceful and long lifetime justify their system. Realistically, after agriculture more disease, war, struggle came. Not before. Ancient people healthier, stress-free, satisfied. Life short. Just myth from wrong data and lack of understanding. If someone thinks this is romantic fantasy, actual science says this. Human nature has love, generosity, cooperation as deeply as competition or aggression. Ancient people's life, happier, healthier, longer than ours. Just system different. Who survived? Lived to old age without much tension, disease or war. Every human has a story. But body also has its own story. Open and raw. About prehistory we get only two types of evidence. Circumstantial like today's tribes or indirect clues, and material like bones, tools, fossils, but ancient people's social or sexual behaviour hard to see directly. Very few body parts or tools survive. Sexual behaviour leaves no physical thing. Still some things like body structure, skeletons, comparisons with other animals tell a lot. Body size dimorphism, important clue. Difference in male-female size. Like gorillas and orangutans. Males double size, because males fight a lot for females. But chimps, bonobos, humans, only 10 to 20% difference, means males stopped fighting millions years ago. Perhaps everyone started getting equal chance, where male size not much bigger than female, either mild polygyny or everyone gets chance system, multi-male, multi-female mating. This body pattern always pre-agriculture, because harem or many wives only possible with power, property, control, which came after farming. Second big clue, testicle size and sperm competition, where females with one male, like gorillas, males small testicles, where females with multiple males, chimps and bonobos, males very big testicles, to win sperm competition. Humans in middle, smaller than chimps, bonobos, bigger than gorillas, gibbons, means human evolution had sperm competition, females with multiple males at time, so human penis shape, testicle size, semen chemical structure suggests sperm competition continued. Even today every sex has sperm competition, conscious or not. Darwin also gave sexual selection concept, but thought females always coy, shy. But actual monkeys, apes, females actively participate. Evolutionary science shows female sexuality not under male control. Females had sex for own pleasure and choice too. Interesting, today porn most popular scenes, woman with multiple males or sperm competition. Science showed when men watch such scenes, sperm motility increases, means human mind and body both have old evolutionary traces surviving. Some say humans naturally monogamous, but body science like testicle size, semen structure, sexual fantasies show past more open and sexual. Everyone got chance. Female sexuality equally active. Body evolution can be fast. Like testicle size changes seasonally in some animals. So in humans too, after agriculture, testicle size changes may have happened. Body structure, sexual organs, behavior altogether say human sexual past very complex, open, sharing. Not just one male, one female or harem type. Human evolution had cooperation, sexual openness, sperm competition together. Traces still in body. Human penis topic. People start joking. But reality. Every age took it seriously. Ancient Rome rich boys wore bulla. Small penis model. Status symbol. Bible mentions thigh. Code word for penis. Sacred oaths taken hand on penis. Some say human testicles small. Sperm concentration less than chimps. So no sperm competition. But sperm competition happens differently. Some animals make semen plug to block the penis as hooks. Humans no such system. Still human penis design unique. Longest, thickest, most flexible among primates. Flared glands, repeated thrusting create vacuum in female tract. Removes other males' sperm. Doesn't harm own, because at ejaculation time penis head shrinks. Research showed one thrust can remove 90% semen. Human copulation time much more than other primates. Chimps, bonobos seconds. Humans 7 minutes. Human ejaculate volume 4 times chimps. Total sperm counts similar. External scrotum also sperm competition indication. Inside would protect, but outside keeps sperm cool and ready for competition. Today's sperm count decreasing. Danish men 1940 to 1990 half. Behind pesticides, hormones, plastics, even mothers beef eating. More sperm production and daily ejaculation good for health. Less prostate cancer, less DNA damage, better heart. Meaning use it or lose it. Evolution rule. If body part not used. Shrinks. Now monogamy came. Sperm competition almost gone. Genes reducing fertility surviving. That's why modern men fertility issues increasing. Before weak sperm, no chance. Females multiple partners. Sperm competition. Weak sperm, no survival. Monogamy almost ended sperm competition. So fertility weakening in genes. Same reason human testicles smaller than chimps' bonobos. Still bigger than gorillas' gibbons. Means ancestors' sexual life open multi-partner. But now monogamy shrunk size and sperm both. World different groups penis, testicle size differ. Asia, small condoms. Africa, Europe, big. Testicle size, Asians, Caucasians, Africans different. Not just body size, explain. Diet, environment, sexual behavior affect anatomy. Biggest thing. Human sex not just for babies. For bonding, pleasure, social stability too. Humans, chimps, bonobos, most sex. Gorillas, gibbons, much less. Sperm competition evidence so strong. If not, our body and society totally different. Penis shape, testicle size, external scrotum, sperm volume. Everything says human evolution, female multi-partner common. People trying to show monogamy natural. But every body part hides proof of promiscuous past, meaning those thinking humans always monogamous, just hoping or stuck in society's imagination, while body truth says something else. A boy walking Barcelona streets wearing Born to Fuck t-shirt. People think joke, but reality. Human sexual behavior not limited to making babies. We spend most planning, energy, memories on sex. But when sex happens, real marathon winner always women. Men just sprinters. Woman's sexual response long. Man ends quick. Most common complaint in marriage. Man comes quick. Woman wants more. Mismatch so much. Doesn't feel we from same system. If millions years only with one partner. Why this? All better understood when we accept we evolved in promiscuous groups. Not one partner. Nation made both different. Sexual frustration from this mismatch. Didn't exist before agriculture. We evolved like chimps and bonobos. But when sex talk, people ignore them. Look at gibbons. Just because monogamous. History always saw women's sexuality as problem. Hysteria disease described from Hippocrates to 1950s. Disease. Treatment. Doctors bring female patients to orgasm. Hand or machine sexual relief. Boring for them. So vibrator invented. America's fifth electric appliance. 1920s onward, vibrators in every home. Still society called women's sexual desire dangerous disease or sin. Masturbation called most dangerous. Doctors wrote blindness, insanity, even death. Clitoris ignored long time. 1500s professor discovered women have pleasure organs. Sent to jail. Europe. If woman's clitoris big. Called witch and killed. Maya culture stories. If woman wants more sex. Punishment with demon. Everywhere, every age. Tried to control, suppress, punish women's natural desire. Society repeatedly said normal women no or less sex need. But reality. Woman's desire. Nature's part. More tried to suppress. More force needed. Psychiatrist Marie Jane Sheffy wrote, bigger desire, bigger force to suppress. Still society tries every way, but can't win war, because female sexuality natural unstoppable force. When publicly asked who makes more noise during sex, boy or girl, everywhere same answer, girl. Female copulatory vocalization, woman's loud sounds during sex. Found every society, every culture. But if sex private and shy thing, why woman screams so loud? Standard science model has no answer. But if accept human sexuality had thousands years multi-partner mating, sounds perfect. This calls other males, invites sperm competition, Not just humans. Other primates, baboons, chimps, bonobos, females scream during sex, especially when fertile or high-status male. Such sounds tell other males female available. Sperm competition increases. Risk predators too. But females take risk. Means evolution selected it. Because benefit. Human female body full of promiscuity proof. Like breasts. Not just breastfeeding. Attraction and fertility signal. Old Venus of Willendorf statues show joint breasts. Today breast surgery most common. Scientific research says real utility in breast-shaped curve jiggle. Attracts men. Some scientists say like chimps bonobos swelling on backside. Upright walking brought signal to front. Breasts. Woman's ovulation not hidden. All signs. Fertile days, woman more attractive, wears sexier clothes, perfume more outgoing. Chances of sex without condom increase. Female orgasm, big mystery in evolution. Not necessary for conception. Still all primates. Especially promiscuous like chimps, bonobos. Female orgasm found. Monogamous gibbons, no orgasm. Means female orgasm may increase sperm competition. Females multiple partners. Orgasm helps body select, reject sperm or push forward. Female reproductive system hostile to sperm. Many expelled or immune cells kill. But special treatment some. Chemical compatibility select. Research showed female orgasm changes vaginal acidity. Helps sperm. Especially sperm from partner with orgasm. Semen chemicals affect female mood depression health too. Non-condom users less depression seen. If multimating normal. That's why men's orgasm quick. Finish fast. Give chance other males. Females repeat. Multi-orgasmic capacity high. Monogamous species like gibbons. Sex less, silent, boring. But chimps, bonobos, humans. Female sex drive and orgasmic power highest. So woman's reproductive system, body, behaviour all show female sexuality. Powerful, open, multi-partner. Standard narrative needs rethink. Coy female just old male fantasy. Not reality. This standard story taught everywhere. Says man and woman nature different. Always conflict in sex and relationships. Said men want more partners without relationships. Women fewer partners. With strong bonds, men want to protect partner from other men. Save genetic investment. Some scientists say man-woman like enemies in sex and reproduction. But this wrong. Men and women different. But not so much they ruin each other's life. Real thing. Both natures connect, complement each other. Male-female differences not as big as people make. We all from same planet, same species from Africa. When woman's sexuality. Very plastic. Changeable. Science experiments. Sheep farmers raised male-female lambs with different species mothers. Grown up. Males interested only same species females they grew with. But females interested both species. Means female sexual preferences changeable. Males not. In humans too, females more adaptable. Sexual response changes with society, situation, environment. Male's response mostly fixed. Famous Meredith Chivers experiment. Men-women shown erotic videos. Man-woman, woman-woman, man-man, solo, animals, everything. Men response direct. Straight men only women, gay men only men. But women body, vaginal blood flow, reacted to everything. Whether mind says or not, means woman's sexual arousal body-mind mismatch. Broad range arousal possible. Woman's sexual desire affected by cycle, hormones, environment, social pressure. Ovulation time, women feel more beautiful. More interest in men. Contraceptive pills change partner preferences too. On pills, different type men attractive. Off pills change. Famous sweat t-shirt experiment proved woman high sex drive can attract to men and women both. So society sees more female bisexuality, women more flexible, experimental in sexuality, men fixed. Research also. When women think answer public, report fewer sexual partners, but anonymous or lie detector. More truth. Men no such difference. Sexologist Lisa Diamond saw women attracted to persons more than gender. Emotional connection can override sexuality. Means woman's sexuality changes with situation connection. Male sexuality more rigid. Childhood imprint lasts life. Most paraphilias unusual sexual interests in males, not females. Male sexual response runs on testosterone hormone. When testosterone low, everything changes. Sex drive, interest, mood. Transgender people transitioning say testosterone coming. Sexual thinking totally changed. Young men high testosterone. Sexual energy peak. But society expects ignore urge. Difficult. This tension causes youth suicide, violence, frustration rise, especially where sex taboo. Some societies like Mangaya or Maria allow youth sex exploration, violence less, meaning suppressing sexuality increases frustration violence. Open environment, people healthier, peaceful. Masturbation too. Western societies ward a lot. John Kellogg advised circumcise children without anesthesia or put acid on private parts, just to stop masturbation. Extreme examples of sexual repression, later proved useless, painful, against science. Today masturbation taboo still, but truth, normal human sexuality part. From all this, male and female sexuality, real story, complex and natural. Society's made narrative mostly wrong. We're all from same source, Africa. Human sexuality not against nature, part of it. Famous Coolidge effect story. Calvin Coolidge chicken farm. Asked how rooster fertilizes so many eggs. Farmer said rooster every time different hen. So Coolidge effect term. Male's sexual novelty. New partners craze. From evolution. Scientific studies all male mammals. New partners, sexual energy boost. Old partner interest slowly down. But wrong to think only women emotional reasons for sex. Young age more women say motivation emotional. But as age increases, accept physical reasons openly. Many middle-aged women sex tourism. Different countries. No emotional attachment. Just sexual excitement. These things ignored in society's science. Against standard story. Same way men's nature. More sexual options, can't stay loyal. No matter good relationship. Coolidge effect hormonal link. New partner, testosterone, energy, desire boost. So many times affair or new relationship. Feel really in love. But actually hormone high. When novelty ends. Feeling goes. Old family, a relationship missed. Such men health risk too. Low testosterone. Depression, heart attack, cancer, dementia more. Men limited options. First lie and run affair. Almost get caught. Trust breaks. Second only wife sex. But interest lose. Shift porn prostitutes. Brings anger/resentment in relationship. Third divorce. New partner start. Serial monogamy. Again, time later boredom. Bad effect on family kids. Woman also no perfect option. Ignore. Revenge affair. Or end everything. Marriage relationship treated like game. But cheating/win-lose concept hurts everyone in reality. Real thing. Evolution programmed male sexuality for novelty. Modern society forced monogamy. When both clash. Pain, confusion, heartbreak everywhere. That's why important understand tension we live in. Right decisions only when understand nature and society real face. We take sex very seriously in life. But actually when only sex happens, it's just sex. Not love, not sin, not disease, not reason to break happy family. Western society restricts sex, inflates value, so sex looks huge in mind. Actually sex, basic need. Like food, water, air. If society relaxes a bit, people get sexual satisfaction easily. Not so problematic. History slowly sexual restrictions decreasing. Hookup culture, sexting, gay rights, etc. shows society going back to little hunter-gatherer casualness. Such society. Sexual frustration, broken families less. Like Syriano people. No one lacks sex partner, so no sex anxiety. No excess fantasies or suppression. America today, 40% children from unmarried mothers. Stats show two-parent kids' performance, health, behaviour better than one parent. But people make marriage unrealistic ideal. Lifelong one-person sexual fidelity actually not possible. Because of this punishment, pain, divorce, kids' problems increase. Some cultures like France treat affair different. Not mean marriage over. But America, Britain, one script. Affair, pack and leave. Whether heart wants or not. Rules followed. Not real feelings. Unrealistic expectations like lifelong monogamy put unnecessary pressure on couples. People think love means monogamy easy. But actually not at all. Sexual desire also hunger. Satisfied, ends. Marriage long-term meaning intimacy, trust, understanding. Not just sex. If couples open, honest, discuss feelings, needs, sexual nature, deep intimacy possible. But conversation's difficult. Men, women, brain different on sex. But with trust, less judgment, everything handleable. Every relationship different. Own story. One-size-fits-all advice doesn't work. Most important, be true to yourself. Stand on your truth. Then can speak truth to others. Society now, some people try polyamorous or open relationships. These people understand jealousy, insecurity. Build it with trust, communication. Research shows such relationships successful too. Safe for children too. Like communal extended family. Scientist Sarah Hrdy says perhaps one mother-father nuclear family less close to human nature than cooperative breeding systems. Recent history shows social tolerance slowly increasing. Gay rights, gender equality, women's rights, etc. But still rigid thinking on sex and marriage. Mainstream therapists also consider monogamy only normal. See open, flexible sexual boundaries suspicious. Tell people one path, but truth. Conventional marriage failing many families. Emotional, psychological, sexual level. Alternative relationships. Polyamory, open marriage. If both partners handle with understanding trust, healthy and successful. Some authors, therapists like Esther Perel believe some couples negotiate boundaries, make relationships strong. Many research show open marriage poly couples satisfaction higher than traditional monogamous. Affairs outside relationships not always weakness sign. Sometimes no relation with partnership. Real thing. Rigid rules, religious legal pressure can't force anyone change sexual nature. Until we change unrealistic thinking on sexual fidelity, family to system, pain, guilt, heartbreak continues. Honesty, openness, trust, understanding real needs. That's way forward. Like sun and moon different, yet perfect balance in sky. Same balance we can bring in relationships. Understand real feelings, differences, similarities. That's it for today. We'll meet again in a new episode with a new topic. Thank you.